Hey guys, Andre from High Performance Academy. Welcome along to another one of our webinars. Now today we're going to be looking at how we can go about balancing connecting rods. So this is going to be an engine building webinar if you haven't cottoned on already. I think balancing con rods is one of those tasks that a lot of novice engine builders think is beyond the realm of the home enthusiast. As we'll see today though, if it's something that you're interested in tackling, it isn't actually that difficult. This is going to require a small commitment financially on the equipment that you're actually going to need, but we'll get into that shortly. Before we start, just want to go over a few things that have been going on around High Performance Academy over the last week. Now, for those of you who have been watching these shows regularly, you're probably already up to speed on a few of the projects we've got on the go right now. One of the big ones is the upgrade that's going on with our Nissan 350Z. So we are rebuilding this for endurance racing, and we decided that the VQ35 just wasn't going to give us the sort of power that we wanted. So we have got a Nissan SR20 with the VVL P11 Primera cylinder head going together. The engine is actually now complete, so if we can just pop over to my laptop screen for a moment, this is just a quick shot of it sitting on the engine stand for the final time before it was shipped off to fabrication. So on this shot here we can see, if we can get my cursor working, we can see that we've got on the intake side, we're running the Plasma Man inlet manifold. We've already covered that off in a previous show. And for our turbocharger at the moment, we are starting out using the Garrett GTX 3076 Gen 2 turbo. Now, a few people have questioned why we are using that turbo. As usual, we do always have some pretty solid reasons behind this. First of all, that turbo selection is actually a pretty solid option for what we're aiming for here power-wise. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel with this engine. They are an incredibly potent engine with a lot of potential, but we just don't need all of the power that these engines are capable of producing. We're looking for an honest, easy 300 horsepower at the 300 kilowatts, I'll try a little bit harder, at the rear wheels on pump gas for endurance racing. And then once we actually run the car for sprint races on flex fuel or E85, we're probably going to push it a little bit harder up to maybe 400 kilowatts. So the turbo is well capable of that and should give us a nice wide power band. But the other aspect is that we are going to be able to do some back-to-back testing with this turbocharger with an upcoming Garrett G Series turbo. At the moment, the G Series is pretty limited on the small end. They've got the G25 550 and the G25 660. We do have it on good authority that there are some slightly larger options in the G30 and G35 series coming out. So we have struggled to find really solid back-to-back data between Garrett's existing GTX series and the new G series, and we're really interested in doing our own testing on this car, on this engine, to see exactly where the advantages are with that G series. So once we've got this all up and running, we've got everything tested and we're comfortable with everything, that's where we'll be going. We'll be fitting one of the new G series turbochargers. Just back on the image there on my laptop screen for a moment as well, you can see at the moment on the exhaust manifold, for those who are pretty eagle-eyed, you will have possibly spotted that this isn't going to work too well right now. The reason for this is that this is a exhaust manifold that Synco Customs here in New Zealand do as an off-the-shelf option for the Nissan S13, S14, S15 for this turbocharger. We didn't get them to complete the manifold, so it's essentially just jigged right now because obviously we were a little bit unsure of how that fitment was going to work out once we've actually got everything in the car with clearance to both the underside of the hood as well as the strut tower on the left hand side of the car. So we're hoping that that'll all work out. And lastly, while we're here as well, just wanted to mention down the bottom here we are running a Moroso wing sump. This is something that we sort of tossed up the options here to actually go dry sump. Obviously in a circuit application you're getting some massive lateral G forces in cornering, as well as of course acceleration and braking forces, and and this can cause a lot of trouble with factory wet sump lubrication systems. Basically, all of the oil runs away from that oil pickup. If you get any oil starvation where that pickup sucks up air rather than oil, then you're going to potentially end up with very quick damage occurring to the bearings. Can end up with a catastrophic failure of the engine. We do know a fair few people who are running these combinations in circuit applications similar to what we're trying to do, running a wet sump system, and it has been successful. So we're certainly starting out that way. The wing sump does include some trapdoors as well to try and stop the oil sloshing away from that pickup. It also adds some capacity. Obviously, we're going to be monitoring everything with an eagle eye through the data logging system. We're going to be looking at oil pressure. We'll have some safety strategies in place there. And of course, if that doesn't pan out, if we do end up striking problems there, well, we will have to probably bite the bullet and go with a full dry sump system. Now, Zach, our wiring guy, has been running this project for us, and the engine and the car got dropped off to a local fab shop just recently. That was last week. So I'll jump across to my laptop again and have a look at a few photos of the progress. So this is really just about getting an idea of whereabouts the engine can physically sit in the engine bay. And what we straight away see here with the SR20 dangling from the engine crane is that there is quite a lot of room around the engine. Probably no big surprise when you take out what is quite a large VQ35 V6 engine with twin cam cylinder heads. There's understandably quite a lot of room on either side of the engine bay with that little SR20 sitting in there. There are a couple of problems though which we haven't quite got to the bottom of yet. Particularly, this is the rear of the engine. We can see that we can't get the engine back quite as far as we would ideally like to do, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, we've got here the clearance between the back of the sump and the factory cross member, so this is about as far rearward as we can mount the engine without needing to notch that subframe. Now, of course, notching a subframe is definitely something that could be done. We haven't ruled that out, but the other issue, which we can't quite see in this photo, is once we've got that plasma man plenum chamber or inlet manifold sitting on the engine, it gets very, very close to the rear firewall here anyway. So there's probably not going to be a huge amount of potential for getting the engine too much further rearward. It's a little bit of a shame, but we're probably going to have to run with that. So we're hoping to have the whole car back from fab in the next fortnight or so, and from there there's still a lot of work to do. There's a brand new wiring harness to construct for the car. Everything's going to be wired from scratch. Everything's basically coming out of the car as it stands right now. And we will also be wiring this up so that we've got the potential to run a variety of different ECUs. And the way that's going to happen is that this will be a full mil-spec wiring harness, if you like to use that term. Probably one of the most misused terms in the performance motoring world, but I will use it right there. So basically what I'm meaning by this though is we are going to be using an Auto Sport quick disconnect connector on the firewall. So the engine bay harness will be separate, and on the cabin side of that harness we're actually going to have another Auto Sport connector, and this will allow us to basically hot swap between ECUs with a simple adapter harness between the ECU header and the Auto Sport connector. So the important part for us is it allows us to produce course material as well as webinar content on a wide range of different ECU platforms. It's not a lot different to how we were running the car previously. With the VQ35 we had the ability to run the Haltech Elite 2500 ECU, the AEM Infinity and the Link G4 Plus ECU. So we're going to be doing the same. Hopefully we're going to be adding a few more ECU options in there as well. Right, in terms of what's been going on recently as well, we are quite excited to bring in a new car to our HPA fleet. So for those who have been following us for a fair while, you may already be familiar with this car. We'll just jump across to my laptop screen, and this is the car here. It's another Toyota 86. We are pretty familiar with these cars already. Those who are aware of our fleet, we do have a white Toyota 86 that runs the FA20, albeit with a turbocharger. turbocharger. We use that for a lot of our course material, but we also end up cutting some laps at the racetrack whenever we can. So the car that we've got here that we've just recently taken possession of, we actually were involved with this for the old owner. He's gone through quite a range of upgrades on this car. He bought it brand new with the stock FA20. He's fitted a supercharger kit to the FA20, a turbo kit to the FA20. Finally decided that the FA20 just wasn't giving him the sort of thrills he was after, so made the decision to fit a Toyota 4-litre 1UZFE engine. So we were involved in the wiring and the tuning of that car. If you are interested in following that, it is on our YouTube channel. Head across there, and if you search for Project Panhard, you'll find the full build series, or at least covering the wiring and the tuning of that engine. Now, I can't actually remember the exact numbers, but the final results with the stock 1UZFE wasn't that impressive. So the old owner decided to go one step further, and he actually had a race 1UZFE built with much more aggressive cams, also much higher compression ratio. Produces somewhere around about 450 to 500 flywheel horsepower. It's also dry sumped, and this is all running through a MoTeC M150 with a Toyota 86 engine swap package. So we were lucky enough to get hold of this car. We're obviously pretty involved with it already, and we actually had the opportunity to take it to the track for the first time on the weekend and compete in the Highlands Sprint Series at our local racetrack, Highlands Motorsport Park. Here's actually another shot of the engine bay, just so you've got a bit of an idea of what that all looks like in there. Interestingly, once it's all in the hole, it actually looks quite stock. It's quite surprising how well it all fits in there. And it didn't end well. So unfortunately, this is Ben coming back on the back of a flat deck tow truck. I'd had a practice of qualifying in one race. Everything had gone well. I qualified in first position and won my first race. So pretty happy with that. Ben went out for his first race, and he got about halfway around the first lap and had a failure in the drivetrain. So we'll just have a look, and I can show you exactly what happened here. So this is the right rear, and it runs a set of Parts Shop Max upright. So this does some roll center correction. And what we can see here is the bracket here, which bolts to that upright or hub. The bolts for it have actually worked loose. One of them's broken, one is sheared off, and the other one's fallen out. So all things considered, we're probably pretty lucky that it happened on the slowest corner of the track with plenty of runoff. So that's another shot of the carnage there. Interestingly, once we got it back to the workshop, I put it on the hoist, and we can see there on the left-hand side of the car, the bolts for that bracket are also backing off. So been in contact with Parts Shop Max. They're actually been great to deal with. They've actually had a redesign on that component, and the bracket now wraps around the hub, so it actually bolts on in 4 locations. So they'll be going back together, certainly with a lot of Loctite, and we'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on those to make sure that they don't back out any further. We don't want that happening again. You don't get away with that sort of failure twice. So keep watching anyway. I will obviously be bringing out some more content on that particular car, and hopefully some of our escapades from the racetrack when we get the opportunity to do so. Right, I just want to mention the current giveaway that we are running, which is in conjunction with the guys from Plex Tuning in Greece. Now, they've been pretty generous here. We've got about $2,500 worth of Plex tuning equipment, $2,500 US. So this starts with their Plex Micro STM. So this is a really tiny little totally configurable dash display unit. So you can input data into this via the wiring harness here. In particular, it has some dedicated inputs already set up for thermocouples. So if you want to run any thermocouples, maybe exhaust gas temperature, for example, you can run these straight into the Plex STM unit. It is totally configurable to display data any way you want. You can have multiple pages of data. You can orientate it so it is in either portrait or landscape mode. It's got a couple of little buttons on it, so you can cycle through your different pages. It also has a peak hold, which is quite useful. You can, obviously, as I've said, wire in sensors into the unit and set them up, but probably I think the most powerful aspect of this is it is also completely configurable in terms of CAN inputs. So you can take information from basically any ECU that provides data on a CAN stream. You can configure that inside the Plex SDM unit, and then you can display that. So we've actually been using one of those units, so I'll just show you if we can jump across to my laptop screen again for a moment. So this is the Plex Micro SDM installed in our other Toyota 86. So it's hard to see here, but the unit is installed just down in the bottom right hand corner of the windscreen. So it just is a nice way of displaying a little bit of additional data that is in the driver's peripheral vision. So we've got a MoTeC dash right in front of the steering wheel, but of course in order to see that dash you actually physically need to look down, take your eyes off the track, and that's not always ideal. So this just allows us to display exactly the data we're interested in and have it in a position where it's really easy to glance at and see what we're actually interested in at the time. So most of the time I'm displaying lambda and I'm displaying boost pressure. Those are the two key parameters I really want to keep an eye on. You can also set up warnings on this as well, so it is really, really powerful. Now on top of that, we are also giving away the Plex knock monitor version 2. So this is one of our favorite devices for listening for knock in an audible way while we've got a car on the dyno, or if we're even out on the road or the racetrack doing some tuning. It's pretty advanced, but it's as advanced as you need it or want it to be. So in its simplest form, you can simply add a knock sensor, bolt that to the engine, and then plug in your headphones and listen for knock. So it's really quick and easy to set up in that way. However, if you want to take advantage of some of the more advanced functionality on it, you can also wire in an RPM signal, and this allows you to do a knock threshold, so basically a background noise threshold versus engine RPM. That'll give you then a graph on the screen that you'll be able to see. It'll also indicate to you visually if you've exceeded that threshold, so it makes it really, really easy to see exactly what's going on while you're running the car. Now on top of that as well, it can also output information on a CAN data stream, so this is compatible with a number of ECUs, data loggers, and also dynos, so great for a professional tuner there. So as I've said, that package there from Plex, around about $2,500 US, and we are also adding in our suite of tuning courses. So you're going to get our engine tuning starter package, which is our EFI tuning fundamentals course, our understanding air fuel ratio course, our practical tuning course, and you're going to get access to our online community as well, which is our gold membership. So it's absolutely free to get your name into the draw. There is a little bit more time left to run on that giveaway, but I would urge you to jump in pretty quickly, and I'll get the guys to hopefully drop a link in there that you can follow if you want to get in for that giveaway right now. In terms of our YouTube channel as well, for those who haven't been following us, and you really should be, let's jump across to my laptop screen. We have just released a new video, which is a complete tech tour of the Hypertune / Bo Yates Toyota AE86 that we filmed while we were at World Time Attack. So this car was Bo's original drift car before he built his GT86. It runs a Toyota Beams 2-litre turbocharged engine, so a little bit different to the 4AGE that normally came out in these cars. This is probably, without a doubt, the cleanest AE86 I've personally ever seen. It probably is in the top handful of AE86s anywhere in the world. The attention to detail from the team at Hypertune is simply incredible, and there's a lot of detail to take in on this car. So have a look at that video if you are interested. Head across to our YouTube. If you aren't on YouTube right now, you can find us by searching Learn to Tune, and that is our latest release. A couple of interesting aspects on that car is that it is fitted with a Bosch Motorsport ABS unit. Probably not the sort of equipment that you're likely to see on most AE86s. Gives complete flexibility in the setup of the braking system, and it's adjustable by the driver for track conditions and driver preference. Another aspect which is really interesting is that Mitch from Hypertune, who's very involved in the whole design of this car, actually modelled the entire car and the suspension setup, and he found basically the lap time that he predicted Suchiya ended up going within about 2/10 of that lap time, so it seems like his modelling was pretty much on point. So really cool car, go and check that out. Lastly, I just want to talk about our wiring course. So Zach at the moment, I've actually interrupted him so that I can bring you this webinar right now. Zach has been busy getting his professional motorsport wiring course together, and we just, if I can find it somewhere, can't find it. That's all right, we'll put another way. I just wanted to show you a couple of photos of what he's been up to. So we'll head across to my laptop screen again. And this is probably the course that everyone's been bugging us for a long time. But we had to get through the fundamentals or the basics first. So we've already got our wiring fundamentals course and our practical club level wiring course done. But of course, everyone's always been wanting to know how to perform concentric twisting and all of the other aspects that go along with a professional motorsport harness. So this is the progress point that Zach is up to at the moment, and what he's actually demonstrating here is that he's calculated the expected wire diameter or lay diameter for the number of wires he's got. It's just showing that he was actually within about 0.02 of that measurement, and then he's added another layer there. I think he was in about 0.1 of the expected lay diameter for that one, and then also just showing how to branch out when you are concentric twisting a harness. So all of the information that no one on Instagram who's posting up these beautiful finished concentrically twisted harnesses is really been sharing. We're going to be showing you exactly how that's all done. So we are working really hard on that course. I say we, but really it's Jono, it's Ryan, and it's Zach who are busting ass at the moment to get that out before Christmas. So we'll keep you in the loop with how that's all going. Right, on that note as well, I will say a big thank you to all of you who got involved with our VIP deal. So our VIP deal is closed off now. We had a really great uptake, and we will be using that capital that we raised through that to improve everything here at HPA. Basically to give you guys more courses. We're going to be adding more worked examples, and we're going to be branching out into other topics. So we're really excited about what we're going to be able to bring out over the coming 12 to 24 months. So watch this space and you'll be knowing about all of that first. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Give me a few moments here and we'll get set up for our webinar today.